whoever did that Capitol thing, it was so stupid. It was the worst possible thing to do, and it played right into their hand. And there's so many different levels to it. But I was just trying to think, well, what if what under what conditions would the Republicans go up there and start crying, you know, and would they not be obviously manipulating everybody? AOC, Representative Cortez, I guess we could call her. She released a TikTok video that went through the whole thing and made herself out to be very victimized. And I was very skeptical of that. One, because she released that 3 weeks later and she had been on the attack and all of a sudden she switched tones. So it was like, okay, we're going to do this other game plan. It's very obvious that she set up the conditions for people to watch more people cry. She was like kind of the front runner. Okay, we're going to cry now. And then everybody else cried after her. I think there's some very deft coordination going on with that, but it's very obviously manipulative. And how do you say, listen, you might be scared. I respect you being scared. I respect you for standing up and speaking out about being abused. And she kind of went into her sexual harassment or abuse. And I don't mean any disrespect of that, but you're a politician. Everything out of your mouth, well, half the things out of your mouth are lies already. We know that you lie. So not only are you not only am I questioning you, I'm going to question you no matter what, but you're doing something where if I question you, I look like the bad guy. You put me in a position of being an asshole by having to question you about this, about your fear, about your scaredness. And then she tacked on that sexual harassment stuff. So it's dirty. It's a dirty way to play. And if they're going to go there, there's no, how do you even the playing field? If they start crying, then what does the other team do? Appeal to, laugh at them and laugh them off the floor? What's the correct response that actually plays well in that game if that's where they're going to take it?
That's a good question. And it's funny that as you were talking, I was thinking, I don't respect that. So when I saw all of that happening and her sharing her story, I see it as being manipulative, especially as I think as a woman, if I'm allowed to say that. And I called it emotional
You're more
dribble.
than a woman, Desi-Rae.
I called it emotional dribble. And the reason I call it that, first of all, I get upset. You don't see that, which is what I'm about to say, because that's not the time and the place for it. I'm not gonna come on my channel bawling my eyes out. So why would I do that? Except be emotionally manipulative. So I didn't respect what she was doing. Obviously, I care about people who undergo trauma, but I just don't think that is the time and the place for those things to happen.
She's using her office and her emotions very pointedly.
Right, and I don't see it as anything but being emotional, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, being manipulative. I don't just see it as her expressing herself or anything, and it's like the underhanded fighting tactics that I think, again, as a woman, it just really, really, really turns me off because I understand it. I understand where it's coming from. I'm no.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to answer your question in terms of how do you respond to that, I think.
Well, you shared your response, which I respect. I just my optics are a little different because I'm a man, right? So the game is rigged against me with that particular move.
Well, actually, what I was about to say is I'm just thinking on the spot here. How to respond to that is maybe it's so annoying how you have to resort to this stuff. I would say have a woman respond to her, and say this isn't we're not going to if you. Let me think about if I were in that position and AOC or whoever where they were, and I forget her name, I can't pronounce that. Yeah, her. We're crying on the floor. Really, anytime politicians do that, I would say thank you for sharing. I'm thinking of what I would say. I'd probably say thank you for sharing your testimony. Now, could we get back to like the topic at hand and like maybe we need to reconvene to discuss, like get back to the actual topic. Like I'd probably say something like that because this is something different. So I would try to separate her emotions from the event, but I would also be very clear to say thank you for like sharing like what you had to say. But like now we need to like reconvene because this is like a separate thing. I think that's what I would do.
Well,
okay, I'm speaking in my head. Yeah.
If I recall correctly, they actually set aside time specifically to talk about Congress members' experience of that. And there was just a whole line of people. They set aside, that was the topic at hand, actually. To cry into the microphone was something that they planned to do, and they said that that's what they're going to do. Not exactly, but sharing experiences about the Capitol riot, giving testimony was actually the thing. So it's just...
Sorry, I'm a little enthusiastic. So maybe another way to go about it is that we can't hear any more of these stories because it's not fair to everybody else. Like maybe like play their sympathy card. Like this isn't fair. Like why is your story so much more important than, I don't know, all the other people who were there, all the other representatives who might want to have something to say. And we simply don't have time for that.
Yeah,
something like that. But
it's really
something making it so that it's like they're the bad guy emotionally, basically.
Yeah. Well, again, being plugged into Twitter and watching, there's two things happen when something happens. There's the event, and then there's the response to the event. So sometimes I'm responding to the response, and watching the relationship of that event to the response. So with regards to Representative Cortez, her. Which program was she using? TikTok or whatever?
Instagram Live.
Periscope.
When she first did the talk about Instagram what happened to her. Okay. I think it was Instagram Live.
Yeah. And then on Twitter, there was like those 2-minute snips and then this huge response. And the response was so emotional. The response to all the members crying in Congress. Like if you look at the responses to that, it's like, I'm brought to tears watching that. I'm crying. Like everybody's crying. And there's like this huge contingent that's basically calling itself liberal or on the left or Democrat. They are so freaking emotional. And you just watch them kind of flurry around with whatever thing you drop in there. They're like, okay, which emotional response are we going to produce out of that? There's like this blob of emo.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like I really don't like the way it's like they don't monopolize being emotional. Like everybody is really emotional. That's like a part of being human. Like we all have really, really, really deep emotions. And there's this thing that the left does where it's like because they're the only ones that try to make their decisions based on it. It's like they behave as if they're the only people who have like really deep feelings, and it's like it's not true. No, it's really interesting. Like there's so much of this rhetoric is like we're hurt. Yes. We really care about the people who are hurting, but it's like everybody cares. Everybody feels these things. Like it's not just like the political left. And I almost don't under. I think this is something that I really, really want to shift in like. The way
the behavior
politics are perceived, like the way people are perceived based on whether or not they're on the left or on the right. Like everyone has very, very deep emotions and like empathy and caring about others, and that's something that I really want to change somehow.